So how are you telling people to prepare for St. George 70.3? Your athletes.
Do hills, hills, and more hills. I think the thing for, again, even if you can't do hills, just really getting your legs stronger by doing really big, lots of big gear drills on their bike in certain power zones, that zone 3, zone 4, zone 5, getting outside and doing whatever hills you can so you can get comfortable on the downhills.
Mm.
With all people training indoors on Trainer Road, Zwift, and the Groovy app, it's easy to get comfortable riding hills indoors and outdoors. But I know for me as an athlete, I need to get comfortable riding down hills. And so I spent plenty of time I have a mile hill repeat that I get to do at Kennesaw Mountain. It's a mile up. It's about 500 feet of elevation gain just going up. So I was doing a lot of hill repeats, not only on my bike, but on the run just to prepare for running downhill and riding downhill, which are definitely both my weaknesses.
I made a little topography sticky note for myself, which I have since taken it down because of St. George, the full
Hmm.
distance in May, and it's two loops.
Hmm.
It's two loops on the run, I think it is, but it is a an up the first 3 miles, then down, and then up again 3 miles, I think, and then down, or something along those lines, where it's up and then down, up and down, and then you repeat that twice. And I'm trying to think, rack my brain. Where can I go and simulate that experience outdoors around where I live? And thinking,
Uh-huh.
okay, where have I ridden where I can have a long incline and then deal with the long decline to get the legs
Yeah.
prepared for the running element of it.
Yeah.
And we have Mount Spokane Park, National Park, I guess, here near us, and it's about, I don't know if it's 7 miles or so. That's You can go further. That's, well, actually a lot further. That it's all climbing, and I've done that a few times, and it's just a grind. Whether it's 7 or 9 miles per hour average on the way up,
Hmm.
and it's also a Strava segment, so I like to go over it and see how I've
Right.
compared to the past. And I'm thinking about the same thing. Like, I need to get outside and get my body conditioned to the duration in the aero bars, in some cases, of climbing the entire time. But I didn't
Yeah.
really thought about that with. You made a great point of when you're on the trainer, sure, you can practice getting out of the saddle and work those big gears, but there's nothing that can prepare you for going downhill at
Right.
speeds, especially around
Mhm.
corners in some cases.
Right. And I think the importance of riding hilly courses as much as you can is just being able to manage the terrain. If you're someone who rides with power, really learning how your power fluctuates on different grades and what your strengths are. Some people are really strong on short, steep climbs. Some people are super strong on long, gradual climbs. Some people aren't strong on climbs at all. But doing that outside and learning how your power fluctuates, going up certain grades, going down certain grades, and what happens to your speed. Because sometimes if you try to push a big power number downhill, your speed's not really any faster. So you're actually wasting a lot of energy trying to grind and hit a certain power target when in actuality, lighten up on the pedals, glide a little bit, and you're gonna go about the same time. And so that terrain management's really important. And again, looking at the when an athlete should do this, it's usually about, when you're in that 12 weeks out from race day, it's really important to start to get in that sport specificity. Riding in the heat. Don't be shy from riding in the heat because if like a place like St. George, it's going to be hot. It's known for heat. You want to get comfortable riding in the heat.
Do you have a speed for yourself and what you might recommend to someone else of where you top out before you do some light spinning? For example, if I'm going downhill and I'm going 30, once I hit around 34, 35, I kind of let up and I don't push the gears any further because
Hmm.
I'm not gaining that much more by going 36 miles per hour. And the return on the power output is not there. So might as well
Right.
spin the legs a little bit, let them go, or let them shake them out, for example, because if I'm going 35 or 34, cool. Doing great. I don't need to go any harder because any harder, I'm only going to go a little bit faster. Almost like in swimming. Like, why do I swim
Right.
2 seconds per hundred faster and it takes that much more energy? Do you have a
Right.
number that you keep in mind, or you tell athletes a philosophy or a strategy going downhill?
No, I've never thought about it from a speed perspective, just from a feel perspective.
Mm.
Like I like to pedal and feel a little bit of tension on my legs and not just spin out and don't feel any tension. But at the same, again, at the same time, it really just depends on the grade and the length of the hill. So I'd have to think about that. That's something that I've never really thought of.
Yeah, you made a good point. If you don't feel tension in the spin going downhill, then why? I mean, you can't keep up with the pedals in the biggest gear. So if I'm going
Right,
36 now and I've lost tension, or 37, it's like, well, there's no point in pedaling hard to find tension. Might as well just let the
right,
legs spin a little bit to keep them going or shake them out.
right. And I had a conversation with an athlete I coached doing St. George about the hills. There's a section of the course that you're going to use the momentum of the downhill to get you uphill. Because she mentioned she wanted to drive the course, and I mentioned my experience driving the Ironman Coeur d'Alene course back in 2000 and I think it was 2008. And I remember driving that course and seeing what I would describe as a wall. It was such a big hill, and I was so intimidated by the hills that year. And I told her, if you drive the course, don't let it fool you, because the hills can look a lot bigger, except for Snow Canyon. Snow Canyon is real, but the hills can look a lot bigger than they actually are. And there's a section of the course when you go downhill, you're going to go immediately uphill, but you're going to have that momentum. So it's not going to be as hard as you think you can. And again, if you train it like you raced it, and you are in the proper gears that you've trained on, and she's done much longer and steeper hills than what she's going to see in St. George. She just needs to remember she's done harder, longer, steeper. She'll be fine. It's all a mindset at this point. So I was just trying to ease her race day anxiety about the hills. They're not going to be as intimidating as she's thinking they're going to be.